Let's go to Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg, the former National Security Advisor to Vice President Pence. General, very good to have you on a busy news day. It looks like when all is said and done, of the 115,000 plus evacuated, 6,000 were Americans and the rest, all of these Afghan nationals. What do you think of those numbers?
Yeah, well, Neil, thanks for having me on today.
Thank you.
The numbers are great. I mean, getting that amount of people is out of Afghanistan is super, but what are we leaving behind? I think we're kind of congratulating ourselves for getting a certain number out, and yet it's an unforced error that we're even doing what we're doing right now. And nobody can really tell me or you or your listeners out there how many are actually left behind and what conditions are going to be left in. So, I mean, I congratulate the tactical units on the ground for getting the people out of there. I know they're collapsing the airhead, meaning getting ready to get out of there. But this is almost surreal. I mean, when you think about it after 20 years, and I was in the Pentagon on 9/11, I'm just watching this go, and it's so much to unpack right now. So did we get people out? Yeah, congratulations to getting those people out. Who did we leave behind, and why did we do that?
Yeah, we won't know for sure. Certainly not anytime soon, General, to your point. Also, General, I wanted to pick your brain a little bit on this Washington Post story that's gaining a little bit of traction and back and forth. That is that the U.S. agreed to let the Taliban control and secure Kabul right before at its taking. What do you make of that?
Yeah, Neil, to me that's an unforced error. I mean, first of all, even that we're talking to the Taliban about that, but it makes sense to me in the sense that Baradar, the political advisor of the Taliban, probably knew he couldn't control Kabul, and he probably turned to the Americans, or the way the report goes from the Washington Post, and I don't know the veracity of it, but let's make an assumption that it's true, and turn it over to us and said, okay, can you control Kabul? And they probably went to the President of the United States as Commander-in-Chief, and he said, no, I don't want to do it, because it would have involved putting more troops on the ground to expand the perimeter. But if your goal is to get every American out of there, and all of your allies out of there, then why not change the date that you made, nobody else made it, and say we're going to get our people out? It seems to be we could have negotiated that and worked that. Instead, what they said was, nope, 31 August is a hard date. We're going to get out, and if we leave people behind, we leave people behind. But I mean, if this could be a truly unforced error where we had the opportunity to expand the perimeter, put more troops in there until we got the people out that we wanted to get out, and then collapse the perimeter and go out. I mean, it's almost like I hope we unpack this story more and more, because it really doesn't make sense to me. I don't know if it does to you, but again, Neil, it doesn't make sense to me at all.
Well, you're the expert, General, but even in my naive look at the region, if we had gotten that ability to secure Kabul, that would have meant that there would be no Taliban perimeter around the airport or anything that we ultimately saw that was compromised, obviously, by these ISIS-K bombings. And so that, it's easy to Monday morning quarterback this if indeed it was that way, but it's just part of a series of fateful decisions that brought us to where we are now. It doesn't look, as you know, General, that we're going to extend the deadline beyond tomorrow, roughly at this time, about 23 hours and 40 minutes from now. What do you think of that?
Well, I know they're out of there. Look, what they're doing militarily is they're actually collapsing the perimeter right now, the airhead. And General Donahue, the commander of the 82nd, is the guy in charge of it. And he knows how to do that. You leave detachments left in contact, you slowly reduce the size of the airhead, and then you get out. And probably in the middle of the night, you're out of there and you're gone. And so tomorrow morning when the sun arises in Afghanistan, the United States military will not be there. And that airfield will go back to control of the commercial activities that are currently there. And I think that's what they're doing right now. And that's militarily makes sense to me. But I mean, tomorrow morning when the sun arises in Afghanistan, I think everybody in America is going to take a deep breath and go, wow, 20 years and this is how we leave after 9/11. It was disorderly to get out of there, a lot of unforced errors. And I think there's going to be a really bad aftertaste in this whole thing, Neil, going forward.
I just wonder as well, General, just to pick your brain on what will be Afghanistan after we leave. We have the Taliban. We're dealing with these ISIS-K elements that supposedly are at odds with the Taliban. Well, I don't know what the real intelligence or skinny is on that, but it will be a mess, I think it's safe to say. I'm just wondering how you see this all sorting out, if it does sort out.
Well, I don't think it's going to go well. I mean, the Taliban are not a governing body as you and I would understand a governing body. They're not Jeffersonian Democrats there in Afghanistan. And it's going to be a nation in conflict like it has been since 327 BC when Alexander the Great found out about that, and when the British found out about that, and when the Russians went in, they found out about it. It's going to be really an ungoverned territory going forward. And the problem is it's going to have the capability and capacity to have a first-rate military because of all the kit we left for them. We left attack fighters on the ground. We left Black Hawk helicopters, more than Australia has, all those weapon systems that are out there. And you've got a government that is really not a government. It's basically a terrorist organization that now holds a lot of land. And who knows what the future is going to bring. But I will tell you, it's going to be like the Badlands in the American West in the old days. You're going to have a lot of really bad people in that country, and we have no idea what's going to come out of it. And I don't think any of it, Neil, is going to be good. I just don't.
General, thank you very much. General Keith Kellogg, the former National Security Advisor to Vice President Pence. So we're continuing to monitor developments in Afghanistan, but there